In this episode of the Florida Feature, we talk all things state officer and the beginning of our terms. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Florida Feature, the new Florida FBLA podcast. I'm your state reporter, Fabio Fabbiani, and today I'm joined with some of our fellow state officers. Joining us today are our State Region 4 Vice President Macy, our State President Vinesh, our State Secretary Leah, and our Region 3 Vice President Sophia. So this is the Florida Feature podcast. It's a great new initiative that we're starting off this year. And Leah, can you tell us a little bit more about what the Florida Feature is and what we're trying to accomplish with this podcast?
Yeah, so basically we want this podcast to be something where members are able to see us state officers interact in a less professional kind of way. Just a chance for us to be able to talk about, what we're doing and see the way we communicate and everything. So that way it's not, because, at conferences, it's hard for us to interact with members because we're always so busy. So the podcast is just a chance for us to, be able to interact more.
Yeah, 100%. And the reason we started with this podcast was precisely for that, and to highlight the amazing things that are going on across Florida FBLA. And we really look forward to, using this as a platform to show and share with a wider community what Florida FBLA is doing. So in this first episode, we're going to be talking about the beginning of our terms as state officers and just kind of the day-to-day things that we've done as state officers and things that we're really excited for this membership year. So Vinesh, can you start us off a little bit about SLC and, all of that great SLC experience?
Yeah, so the State Leadership Conference is the highlight of the year. That's where all of Florida FBLA gets to get together. We have around 5,000 members there last year. So it's an amazing experience. That's where we all actually ran for office. So we all ran for our positions, we gave our speeches, we campaigned to our members, and it was an amazing time that we got to talk to our members directly. So what were your guys' thoughts on that?
I know at the campaign booths, I loved getting to talk to everyone. I got to see a lot of people from Region 4 and talk to them about my plan and kind of hear their opinions on what they wanted done, and we're then able to take that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The best thing, in my opinion, my favorite part about SLC was that experience to talk directly with our members and see, hey, what is needed from the state officer team, what can we improve on, and really how can we be true representatives. And honestly, that was also a great experience for meeting people and just seeing how people in FBLA really do have varied interests. Everyone that came to the booth, they weren't only there as FBLA members, but they were there as people as well, right? And I think that was very important to see that, we are all connected by FBLA, but our membership is so diverse and there are so many different interests, which is really cool to see in my opinion.
Fabio, I completely agree with you. I know at the campaign booths, we're there, we're trying to get the members to vote for us to be a part of the state officer team. But I know a lot of the times too, when I was just speaking with members, it wasn't always saying, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. We were getting on other topics. I was learning about how their chapters are doing and what their chapters are doing and what kind of events and fundraisers and things that they do as well, just for me to just be more open-minded, because the conferences and the campaign booths are a way for you to be able to see what everyone else in the state of Florida is doing, because you don't always have that opportunity when you're just in your chapter. So I was able to see what their opinions are, and then take that into consideration for my campaign.
Yes, I mean 100%. And what was your favorite campaign experience, Sophia?
I just love being able to talk to members, and I learned a lot of valuable information about, like Leah was saying, how their chapters ran, and I just really valued some of the conversations and connections that I formed with members. It was just a really fun experience to be able to just form those membership connections and to just learn more about what people wanted to see.
100%. And that for me as well, I think one of the also this is more of like the nervous part is like, you know, giving campaign speeches and stuff like that. Because like all eyes are on you. So it's like, I remember for me personally, like that night after I gave my speech, I was like, you know, it was like a rush. I barely could sleep the night after because like the speech was like not necessarily like I felt embarrassed or something like about the speech, but just like the energy rush that hits you. Adrenaline, right? And that's what you see throughout the whole like state leadership conference until that moment where you're like, hey, we're here. You know, what were some of your favorite memories, you know, about actually being on stage, and like what were your thoughts when they called and said like, you know, your next state officer, and then they called your name? How did you guys feel?
I honestly just felt so ecstatic. Like, I remember being in 6th grade and always wanting to be up on that stage, and so it really felt surreal. And I didn't have the same experience as Vinesh and Fabio, but I did my speech in the region rooms, so it was a little less intimidating. I still remember like shaking before it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing my speech in the regional because it was so much less nerve-wracking, because you're just kind of, it felt like more you were talking to your friends, and I knew most of the people in my room, so it wasn't as nerve-wracking, but I definitely was very, very nervous when I was campaigning and writing my speech and trying to figure out what to say and how I want to say it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what was one of my favorite things, and it's actually really funny, when the outgoing state officers do the medal drop, and then the medal comes out of nowhere. Actually, I think the recording's actually up if you Google it, FLC. So that is something that you guys should go definitely take a look at. I want to see how many of you actually catch on and see what we're like kind of laughing about. But trust me, it is hilarious. If you go back and look at that video, you're definitely gonna have a laugh. I remember we were looking back at that video a couple weeks ago, one of our meetings, and we like started laughing for like ages. I want you to like really focus on that moment when like the medals drop.
The context for what Fabio is saying right now is basically when the new state officers go on stage and they're paired with the outgoing state officer. We do we put our hands out and we all drop the medals that the new state officers are going to get, and we try to all do it at the same time. So just pay attention to what the new officers do when they see the old officers start to get the medal, like start to drop the medals. I think this year we're going to do a way better job. We're going to make sure that we're coordinated and that the new state officers don't have to deal with that and don't look like embarrassed or anything like that. So, but that was
watch that clip if you just Google like SLC, like Florida FBLA. I think the clip is up somewhere like on the internet. So it's definitely like something to look, because you're gonna have a good laugh. But honestly, like that moment was also kind of like the moment where like things transition, because that was the moment where you're like, hey, like you are a state officer now. And like after the fact, I think as a team we've been able to like go back to that moment. We've discussed it many times, like what we really felt. And I guess that kind of transitions into like actual beginning of our terms, getting to know each other, and like, you know, state officer training, which was like the first real moment where like as state officers we like started to become a team. So can one of you like kind of expand on like what state officer training is for like some of our members might not know what it is, and kind of what we do with state officer training?
Yeah, so at our state officer training, it was the same weekend as pre-NLC, and for you Swifties, it was the same weekend as the Taylor Swift concert at Raymond James. So basically, that was kind of like our first time really getting to talk to each other and getting to know each other. And it was really, really fun. That's really where our team was able to bond. We were able to start doing our PRW, which took up most of our time, and that is our program of work. And we kind of got to decide what we wanted to do for this year and what initiatives we wanted to start and or continue. And more than that, though, we really just got to know each other as friends and just as people, really, instead of just being as state officers, because we spent a lot of time with each other. And then we also got to help out at pre-NLC, and we got to meet a lot of new members who were prepping for NLC. Vinesh, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so more on state officer training. Actually, that's when we kind of all meet each other for the first time. And I distinctly remember, I think it was Macy or Sophia. One of the first texts that you guys sent was, guys, is anyone else going to the Taylor Swift concert? Because it was the same exact weekend as the training. So I think one of you guys had to bail on that.
It was actually Joel.
Because I sold my tickets for it.
Oh. Then yeah, somebody had to miss the Taylor Swift concert to come to our training, but it was super fun. We got to work with our members more at training and stuff.
That Taylor Swift concert that weekend, like you might think it's just like something trivial that it was the same weekend, but I live in Miami, so I had to. The state officer training was in Tampa, so I had to drive up, and when I'm coming up, there's this like when I reach like the Sarasota area, there is this traffic like I've never seen before, and all the cars have Taylor Swift on their windshields, like, we love Taylor Swift. It's so funny. So I left Miami like at 8 a.m. and I should have gotten there by like 1 or 1:30. I got there at 4 p.m. because there was so much Taylor Swift traffic. So like, that was actually really funny because like you might think, oh, it's like just a concert.
Taylor Swift is like everything though. So
yeah.
So I was actually going to go to the concert, so it was super cool because I had tennis districts. We had our state officer training on Thursday and Friday, or no, it was Friday and Saturday, and the concert was on a Thursday, and my tennis districts was from Monday and Tuesday, but they excused me for the whole week by accident, so I was actually able to leave, like skip Wednesday and make it to the concert, which was so cool.
Yeah, so also at training, one of the big things we do and the main focus of it is making our program of work, where we plan out everything we want to do for the year. And that took a while. We would spend nights down in the lobby screaming at each other, actually, and then we had to get a talking stick out because everybody would be trying to talk over each other. But that was super fun.
Yeah, we kind of got to. I'm sorry. We kind of got to use the ideas that we got from talking to people at our campaign booth and do and implement that into our POW.
And
yeah, I don't think we weren't necessarily screaming at each other in like a bad way, but it was because we all had all of these ideas and we were just so excited to share all of them and make sure it was in that POW to give members the best experience.
The way I would put it more is that it was like idea vomit. Like we literally put every idea we had out there, and we like had a ton of ideas because like we come really excited from states, and all of like the members we talked to, they give us really good insight what we need to do like to improve the Florida FBLA experience. So once you get into that room and you're like, hey, we're building this POW, like we're doing this for real, and the POW is actually something that we kind of strictly follow throughout the year. Like that's our plan. All the initiatives that you see Florida FBLA come out is on our program of work, and they were like mostly planned at that like officer training at that first meeting. And I do distinctly remember that talking stick. Like there was a point that we had so many ideas that everyone like had so many great ideas. We're like, hold on, we have to like pass around the stick because if not, we're not gonna get like as much stuff like done as efficiently as possible. So luckily after we like put some order into like our like crazy brainstorming session, we were able to actually start writing and developing that program of work. And let me tell you, those were some late nights, like working on the program of work. And then it's also like the getting to know you aspect as well, because like during that like officer training, we also had the opportunity to get to know each other as people. We like did escape room, we like had a chance like talk just about regular stuff at like meals and things like that, which is also a really fun part of the experience. But with that being said, I mean, looking at our POW this year, what is your guys' favorite things that we've done at least so far?
Well, mine will definitely have to be the regional summit. I loved the first one we did. It was so fun to kind of do games with the members, and especially the quizzes. That was just a really fun experience to be able to bond with them, and Joel's magic tricks really.
You'll only know about that if you went to regional summit number 1. So maybe that's your sign to like, go to these regional summits so you can get in some of these inside jokes. Yeah, the regional summits were really fun. Like I remember that was a very chaotic but really fun night because there was like a lot of things going on. It was really fun. How about you, Macy?
Yeah, like you said, the regional summit was really amazing. That's kind of the kickstart to our live session Palooza. in September, August. But so far, my favorite thing has really been doing social media and just kind of helping communicate with everyone.
Yeah, social media is always really fun. I mean, Vinesh, you and myself, we do a lot of the social media work, so it's like really fun to actually like be able to put all the things that we're doing and share it with our members of social media. I think we've gotten pretty good at using Canva this year, and social media and things like that. Leah, how about you? What's been your favorite like POW thing we've worked on this year so far?
Yeah, personally, I liked the networking night. I feel like that was an opportunity for everyone. I know with the regional summit, it was like very region based and there was like a competition among regions, but networking night is also fun because, we're able to do like these different games to get members to like interact with each other as well. So obviously we want to talk to them and like make it more fun because we don't have a lot of time at conferences, but also for each other, for them to be able to see people in their area and some people not in their area, and to be able to just play games and find similar interests. That's my favorite part, because if us having a networking night at least allows someone to make one more friend, even someone that's not necessarily close to them, it warms my heart that we're able to do that.
Yes, 100%. I mean, let me tell you, September was a really like fun time for live sessions. We had a live session every single week in September. So
yeah, it was great.
like live sessions were one of the big things we wanted to push this year, in the sense because we felt like it gives a lot of big insight to like you the member, about things that are going on and different things that you can implement with your chapter. And for me personally, I would definitely say that just a general amount of resources we have been able to provide this year, and we have a lot of things planned that you guys are going to get to see later on in the year. But even just so far, the Florida Communicator, which is our state publication, is really I guess the way where we tell the story of Florida FBLA. What have we been up to? All the great things that our members have been doing, and local chapter news and things like that. The Florida Communicator has been, something that's been really important for me, as well as the PR session, where we're able to help chapters, build their public relations strategies so they're, more prepared to like publicize the chapters and their activities, so chapters are able to grow. So a lot of those communication initiatives have been very important to me, like as state reporter, and I've seen how these initiatives have impacted membership. Vinesh, how about you? I mean, you've been leading our team this year, so how do you feel about our POW? What's your favorite initiative?
Yeah, so our POW this year is definitely huge. We have almost 10 pages filled with just items that we want to accomplish and things we want to do this year. So it's a hefty thing to take on. But my favorite thing that we've done so far would have to be the district president toolkit. So we put together all of our experiences and past leadership, and we put that all into a toolkit for our district presidents so they can better level up their districts, and we were able to give this to them at the National Leadership Conference. So if you are a district president and you haven't received that, feel free to reach out to any of your state offices. But it has a ton of valuable insights and things about leadership, things about hosting fun events, things about uniting your district, and it's really an amazing resource.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I think the best part, of being a state officer is seeing how these things really impact our members. And all of these resources that we make as a state officer team, they have they're member driven in the sense of they're designed specifically so Florida FBLA and our members are able to grow and gain something from this. And to be honest, I think something like more behind the scenes with all the initiatives we put out, whether it be a live session, toolkits, even this podcast, is the amount of time that your state officers put into these initiatives. We meet a lot, we meet constantly as a team, and then we have individual meetings for little specific things that we're working on. And it's just the amount of thought and work that goes into this, which I think is very important to the entire state team, even some of the officers that are not here today. It's very important for the whole team because it shows the dedication that we as state officers really have to making sure that Florida FBLA is able to grow. And that's really just part of the state officer experience, in my opinion. I mean, we've had so many memories, meetings, and actually working on these items that kind of also fuel our leadership. And we're also glad that these experiences that we're creating are able to fuel our members' leadership.
And Fabio, to kind of go off that, talking about this new membership year as a whole, I think another thing to kind of demonstrate our effort and this dedication that you were referring to into our POW is another thing would be like chapter visits. I think that we also want to do a big push for chapter visits this year because yes, we do a lot of behind the scenes background work that members aren't always seeing. They just see the live session itself, but don't necessarily see the work that goes into it. But for chapter visits, like actually getting us there to that chapter, connecting with that chapter, even middle school chapters, is a whole like other aspect where we can take the resources that we've been working on and like give it to those middle schoolers or give it to those high school chapters, so that way they have that. And I think it's also like an eye opener for them when they see us there, because you know it's more on like a people person level instead of this big state officer. If we're actually just there, just one of us is there with their small chapter, it's a different experience for them versus being with 5,000 other people at a state conference.
100%. So, with that being said, I mean, chapter visits have definitely been a big thing that we've been pushing, and we really are excited about, because that's that one-on-one connection we get to do with chapters. And at least for me personally, that's one of my favorite things, because it really comes down to that one-on-one relationship that helps, FBLA grow, because FBLA is really built on, those connections that you're able to build within your chapter and outside your chapter as well. And there's many different opportunities to do that, including, I think, some of our upcoming initiatives and events that we have, including the Florida FBLA State Fall Leadership Conference, which is coming up real soon. We're really excited about that. And one of you kind of expand why you're excited about SFLC coming up?
So I'm really excited to see all of our members in person, kind of like how Leo was saying, getting to talk to all the members one-on-one and just seeing them in physical form at SFLC in Orlando is going to be really, really amazing. Getting to talk to them and have a guest speaker.
Yeah, so SFLC is actually something that we brought back after a few years. So it's been a few years since Florida FBLA has done SFLC, and it's a super fun experience. We don't do competitions like SLC, so there's more time for you to interact with members across the state, attend motivational speakers, listen to workshops, and it's an amazing experience where you can work directly with your members and meet all these amazing people from across the state.
Yeah, 100%. And SFLC is something that is going to be, a big part of, Florida FBLA this year, and bringing back traditions, which I think is something that's really important.
One other thing about that too is that at SFLC, which I don't know if all members really realize this, but you're not worried about competing in your competitive events. There is open event testing, but a lot of times at conferences, members are stressed, and so me as well. When I'm doing my competitions, I always see people, studying in the halls or looking at their laptop, reviewing everything, make sure they know everything. But at SFLC, you don't really have to worry about that. So it takes away some of that stress. Although competitions are super fun and amazing opportunities, but at SFLC, it's kind of that intro to everything where all of that is not necessarily a concern at that moment.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I think for me personally, the fall conferences have always been one of my favorite conferences. States have, of course, a different experience because you're always competing and things like that. It's I guess, the marquee event. But I think fall leadership conferences are often underrated in the sense of that's a really good opportunity to go out and meet new people, make new friends, and really learn something new. I remember last year at the National Fall Leadership Conference that was held in Orlando. I mean, and I guess Leah and Vinesh have a different experience with this because they're also helping with hosting that conference. You're really able to meet so many great people. I actually met Macy at that conference.
Yeah, at the round tables.
At an officer roundtable, and we just kind of started talking and we kind of became friends, and then it was cool to see oh wow, you also got elected to state officer. You kind of build those connections, you never know when you might be working with someone. And in this case, like, I didn't know Macy was gonna be running for state office, or like Macy was gonna be a state officer with me. And then, wow, like we actually had met at a conference and talked before. So that was a really a full circle moment. There we go. That's the wording. And that's something that is really important about fall conferences. It's like the way that you really take advantage of them, because it's not so much about the competition, although there are some traditions like Battle of the Districts, which is which district comes out on top on their FBLA knowledge. But overall, it's really about that opportunity to say hello to the person that's next to you, or attending a workshop and learning something new, which I think is always like super important about FBLA. We have workshops and we have all these opportunities at all of our conferences, but I think it's like more highlighted at the Fall Leadership Conference. I mean, to kind of close off like the Fall Leadership Conference segment, do any of you have tips of what to bring to FLC? General tips to have a good conference?
So I would say just to bring an open mind. Like Fabio said, that's where we got to meet each other. And I remember we talked about our slushie sales, and we were able to like kind of brainstorm with each other different tactics to bring to our chapter. So being able to talk to a bunch of people from all over Florida and being open to that, and not just kind of staying within your chapter, it can be a really amazing thing.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, remember to bring the things you would always bring to a conference. Regular things that you would bring to an FBLA conference. It's always good to bring stuff to take notes, whether it's your computer, things like that.
Basic essentials, attire.
Yeah, like business attire is very important. Remember, business attire, pretty self-explanatory. I think if you've been to a couple of FBLA conferences, you should know what that looks like. Make sure you bring your business attire. And FLC is also a good opportunity to like make new friends and do something fun. So like always bring board games or a deck of cards or something you can do in your downtime. Yeah, and like honestly, business attire is very important because you have to look fresh, right, Vinesh? Yeah. So, okay, guys. Thank you so much for coming to this episode of the Florida Feature. This has really been a pleasure, and this is something that we're really looking forward to, and highlighting all the great things that are happening across Florida FBLA, and sharing with you a lot of great opportunities that really are available to expand your leadership within the organization. So yeah, that's been this episode, and some things to really look forward to. Like we said before, SFLC is coming up. Definitely don't want to miss that. We have a lot of really cool initiatives coming up soon, including our local chapter officer training, which is scheduled for October 25th at 6:30 p.m. Registration links have been sent to local chapter advisors, and it should be available in Instagram already or pretty soon. Also coming up soon is our cruising competitive events toolkit. You should stay tuned for that, coming sometime in the future, as well as our fall 2023 edition of the Florida Communicator, our state publication. It's going to have a lot of great content, including, tips and articles from our state officers, recaps of a lot of the great things Florida FBLA is doing, and things that have come from you directly, local chapters. We have had a record-breaking number of submissions from local chapter news, so we're really excited to really have this edition of the Communicator really be encompassing all the great things that are going on in Florida FBLA. And like always, you have to stay tuned to our Florida FBLA social media at FBLAFL on Instagram. That's where we're going to be posting a lot of our great things that we're doing, and a great opportunity for you to stay involved and see what's going on. It's going to really highlight those opportunities that you surely do not want to miss. With that said, this has been the first episode of the Florida Feature. We're so happy we were able to have you here today, and we were really looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode.